Hello dear students, welcome to the another video tutorial of mammalian histology. In that we have started with the tongue and we are about to complete this topic with this uh, muscles topic. Okay, so we have studied that the various features of tongue that at two sides that are anterior and the uh, posterior side. Okay, so we have studied the four type of the papillae, that will be the foliate papillae, then the lingual frenulum, pellica imbricata, and the fusiform papillae, circumvallate papillae, and the uh, these type of the papillae. Okay, so at posterior third we have seen the all about the base and the root with the uh, tonsils type, and we have seen the its specifications. Okay, so in today's lecture we are going to study with the muscles are situated uh, within the tongue. Okay, so let's start with the tongue muscles. Okay, so the tongue is chiefly a muscular organ. Okay, so no bones are present in that. Okay, so that with the sum about fatty and fibrous tissues which is distributed throughout the substances. Okay, so all the muscles of the tongue are paired structures that with each copy being found on either side of the median fibrous septum. Okay, so there are muscles that extend outside of the organ to anchor it to surrounding bony structures, knowing extrinsic muscles. Okay, so the other set of muscles are confined that each half of the organ, and they are going to contribute to altering the shape of that organ. Okay, and these are the intrinsic muscles. Okay, so there are two type of the muscles, that are the extrinsic muscles as well as intrinsic muscles. Okay, so they are going to provide extra support as well as the muscular structure for the organ. Okay, so these are the overview of muscle that is by and with the anterior view. Okay, so you can see these superior longitudinal muscles. Okay, at the lingual mucosa. Okay, and as you can see the ventricle muscles that below that. Okay, as you can see the transverse muscles of tongue by we are going to see in detail with taking the transverse section. Okay, you can see the palatoglossus muscles. Okay, the inferior longitudinal muscles of tongue, and styloglossus muscles. Okay, with the genoglossus muscles and the hypoglossus muscles. Okay, so let's see one by one. Okay, so the intrinsic type. Okay, I have said that there are two type of muscle, that extrinsic as well as intrinsic. So let's see the highlighting features of the intrinsic tongue muscles. Okay, so the intrinsic tongue muscles are responsible for adjusting the shape and the orientation of that organ. Okay, so they are going to adjust the shape of the tongue as well as the orientation of the tongue. Okay, so it is made up of the paired muscle which is discussed below in the dorsoventral manner I have discussed with, uh, and the superior longitudinal muscles. Okay, that are made up of the thin layer of muscle fibers, superior longitudinal muscles. Okay, as you can see with the lingual mucosa layer with the upper side. Okay, that superior longitudinal muscles of tongue that are going to made up of a thin layer of a muscle fibers that going to traveling in a mixture of oblique and longitudinal axis. Okay, so just deep to the superior mucosal surface of that organ. So these fibers arises from the median fibrous septum. Okay, as well as the fibrous layer of the submucosa that uh, form to have the level of the epiglottis. Okay, so the ventuli that eventually the insert along the lateral and the apical margins of that organ. Okay, with the median fibrous septum and the fibrous layers of the submucosa that are going to form a level of the epiglottis. Okay, so these muscles are responsible for extracting, okay, and that retracting with the broadening to the tongue. Okay, that are going to provide the border, or that with the broad surfaces. Okay, by the these type of the intrinsic muscles are going to broad the tongue, that going to increase the surface area of the tongue. Okay, as well as the evading the tip of the tongue, as I said, the tip, body and the root. So these was the three main part that are going to tongue was get divided into. Okay, so these muscles are responsible to having with the broader to that tongue, as well as the that evaluating with the tip of the tongue. Okay, so the net effect of these intrinsic type of muscles that going to result in the shortening of the organ. Okay, that are going to come that are going to compress or maintaining the shape um, with the compression that are going to eventually going to all over in all going to short that organ. Okay, that going to bind with such a way that organ's length is going to get shortened up to the 10 centimeter. Okay, as I said in earlier sessions. So another set of muscles that going to occupy the dorsal plate, or that dorsal plane of the tongue, is deep to the superior longitudinal muscle. So another type, that superior longitudinal muscle. Okay, as I said, that another the uh, next view. Okay, so these superior longitudinal muscles are uh, these are the vertical muscles. Okay, and that arises from the root of the organ. Okay, and they are going to genioglossus muscles that are uh, insert into the median fibrous septum. Okay, that are going to along the entire length of the organ. Okay, so these are the longitudinal muscles, so they are going to arise from the root to the tip of the organ. Okay, so these are the lengthiest muscle into the organ, that is nothing but the tongue. Okay, so these muscles facilitates and flattening uh, the widening the tongue. Okay, so deep to the ventral muscle is layer of the transverse muscles of the tongue. Okay, so they take a lateral route extending from either side of the medial lingual septum, that is the origin of the our organ. Okay, and to the fibrous mucosa layer that along the lateral margins of the organ, that they are going to uh, provide a insertion into the that organ. Okay, so with the fibrous mucosa layer. Okay, so these muscles contract and cause the tongue to narrow and the elongated structures. Okay, So finally, the inferior longitudinal muscles that travels about the ventral submucosa of the tongue. Okay, so these fibrous travels that uh, hyoglossus and the gyneglossus that the it arises from the base of the tongue to the body of the hyoid bone. Okay, so that fibers are going to end in the apex of the tongue. Okay, so as I said, they are going to arise from the root and they are uh, ending with the apex. Okay, so these longitudinal muscles are going to allow the muscle to pull the tip of the tongue. Okay, so inferiorly the and also going to short the organ. Okay, so that muscles are going to pull these organs tip to back towards the root, so that these that rigidity going to short the organ length. Okay, so as you can see in these pictures, that are the vertical muscles of the tongue. Okay, as you can see. Okay, so the that vertical muscles of tongue, that is also known as the musculus ventriculus linguae. Okay, and that are going to grab that organ to get um, uh, pull backwards toward the root. Okay, so as you can see in the first picture from your left, that are the ventricle muscles of the tongue. Okay, as I highlighted them into the green color. Okay, so the superior longitudinal muscles in the middle picture. Okay, that are the um, as you can see at your right third picture. Okay, from your left, the third picture, that is superior longitudinal muscles of tongue that are going to border of the your organs. Okay, and that borders of your organs are comprises by means of these superior longitudinal muscles of the tongue. Okay, and that superior longitudinal muscles are going to pull backward your tongue towards the root from your tip or the apex. Okay, and these are the at the middle picture, this is the ventral section of the muscles. Okay, as you can see the long length of these superior longitudinal muscles of tongue. Okay, so uh, these muscles are going to grab and pull backward to get the length shorten of the organ. Okay, so as you can see at the third picture, this will be the frontal view of the superior longitudinal muscles of the tongue. Okay, that are the length, as you can see the length of the that muscles. Okay, so the extrinsic type of the muscles in the tongue. Okay, we have seen the intrinsic type. Now we are going to see the extrinsic muscles. So while the shape of this tongue is determined by the intrinsic muscles. Okay, and the tongue movement of the organ within the um, uh, in out. Okay, so the oral cavity depend on the extrinsic tongue muscle. Okay, that oral cavity is depend on the extrinsic muscle, while that intrinsic muscle is going to control the shape of the tongue. Okay, so there are four pairs of the extrinsic muscles which are going to uh, that going to help the oral cavity. Okay, so which can be viewed as those arising from above tongue and those that originate from the below tongue. Okay, so you can see the origins. Okay, from the below side, downside of your tongue, and that are going to rise uh, or going to protrude on your upper surface of your tongue. Okay, so that we have seen the longitudinal from root to the apex, but now we are going to see the extrinsic tongue muscles that are going to rise from your uh, ventral surface and going to uh, view or going to pass your longitudinal muscles and going to uh, get their way to the posterior side. Okay, so the anterior posterior muscles that are extrinsic tongue muscles. Okay, so there are four pairs of extrinsic muscles that are going to view as those arising from above the tongue and those that originate from the below tongue. Okay, so that stealoglossus, okay, that are the palatoglossus and are going to two muscles arising from above. That palatoglossus is anatomically a part of the pharyngeal group of the muscles. Okay, so its attachments to the tongue means that it has also the extrinsic tongue muscles to the palatoglossus. Okay, and it originates from the oral part of the upper neurophysis, that upper neurosis of the soft plate. Okay, so there are the also insertion of the lateral margins of the tongue, that the muscles are going to wide, then long, and the middle sections are taken. Okay, so the role of an extrinsic tongue muscles will be to evaluate the dorsal surface of the tongue and uh, to act as a spincer. Okay, that sphincter at the oropharyngeal isthmus. So that's nothing but while working these synergically uh, the contractile palatoglossus, that means the contracting ability and the that are going to evaluate the by means of these extrinsic tongue muscles. Okay, so as you can see, the stereoglossus that will be originate from the anterior surface of the sterile process. Okay, that not only does it contribute to the stellanomandibular linguet, that going to also assist in the retraction. Okay, and that retraction of the tongue, that means the moving it posterior superiorly. Okay, that posterior superior movement of your tongue are also the all type of the movements are going to handled by means of this extrinsic type of the muscles. So these, it is the smallest and the shortest of the three styloid muscles. Okay, so at the longitudinal margins of the tongue, that muscle uh, going to in that muscles into the longitudinal and the oblique components that are going to comprises your tongue movements. Okay, so the formation that prises this tongue is dorsolateral aspects that integrates with the inferior longitudinal muscles, while lateral crosses that are we're going to discuss it with the hyoglossus. Okay, and that going to gynoglossus, that are the hypoglossus arises from the below. Okay, that going to originate from a splendor tendon. Okay, that splendor tendon that going to attach to the superior ginal tubercle, that are going to found on the inner surface of the synaphysis menti. Okay, so this attachment prevents the tongue from falling backward into the obstructing the airway. Okay, so when the individual is a supine, okay, that means when individual is going to lie on the bed, at that time these extrinsic type of the muscles going to pull them forward to that, when that tongue is not going to interfere with our respiratory system. Okay, so the lower fibers of these muscles to have the indirect attachment to the anterior part of the body. Okay, and that anterior body part will be the body of the hyoid bone. Okay, and that hyoid bone via its slender aponeurosis. Okay, and it is a triangular midline structures that travels posterior superiorly, that are going to attach which point with the upper fibers, that muscles are uh, integrate with the intrinsic muscles that going to before the attachment along the length of the inferior surfaces of the tongue. Okay, so the extending from the root to the tip. Okay, that hyoglossus originate from entire greater that going to with the hyoid bone. Okay, so the slender quadrilateral muscles that are going to attach with the hyoglossus. Okay, so it is often accomplished that the chondroglossus or may be the considered as the part of the hyoglossus. Okay, so which arises from the base that are lesser going to connect with the halar bone. That hyoglossus is going to take a ventral course, that cranially are going to where it going to imprises the inferolateral margins of the tongue that are subsequently bled. Okay, with between the inferior longitudinal muscles and the spryoglossus. Okay, so the extrinsic muscles that are going to play an important role in that going to go presiding with the modeling that of the food bolus. Okay, and when our tongue is going to encircle, that movements are going to uh, modeling the food bolus. Okay, that are going to form going to give shape the food bolus in preparation for the initial phase of the swallowing. Okay, and additionally it going to provides the flexibility. Okay, so this was the role of the extrinsic muscles. Okay, as you can see in the picture that the you can see the muscles, that first part will be the first picture and second picture, that both are the gynoglossus muscles. Okay, that muscles of the gynoglossus. Okay, and that are going to form that are going to support the movements of your tongue. Okay, so as you can see, the first picture is the uh, uh, picture for to understand the location of the uh, gynoglossus muscles. Okay, and that gynoglossus muscles, as you can see in the second picture, that is the ventral section showing um, the showing the gynoglossus muscles as highlighted in the green color. Okay, so as you can see in the third picture, that is the um, position for the hyoglossus muscles, that will be the muscles of hyoglossus. Okay, that are going to um provide extra balance as well as the movemental originating for the tongue muscles. Okay, so that muscle or the muscularis hyoglossus, as you can see in the fourth last picture at your right side, will be the hyoglossus muscles, that ventral section showing the from that are going to rise from the uh, ventral surfaces and going to show with the from the vertically going to upright with the from rises on the below part of your tongue sections. Okay, so we are going to stop here and we will meet in the next session with the uh, some histology of your tongue and the uh, taste bud. Okay, then we will start with the alimentary canal. Okay, thank you.